Hello, everyone. Welcome to SharkCast Pod, or as we call this, the Gaz and Shinazz Show. That's Gaz. I'm Shinazz. We are Sharks people through and through from birth until wherever we go. This is getting heavy already. Gary, welcome back to Gaz and Shinazz. The people have been calling for it.
Thank
They got
you.
it.
We're back. We're here. Beautiful sunny day down here in the Shire, and it's great to be at Sharks Stadium for this little episode.
So they're prepping for South Sydney Saturday, Sharks Stadium. And you're showing me little things like drones getting involved with line markings, and the grass is green, and the team just finished, we should say, and they look amazing. And I think that just quietly, I think we might be 1-17, but we'll wait until that hour before. But there was a bit of concern about the halfback, but we believe he's going to be okay. Just as a quick spoiler, hopefully we don't get in trouble for saying that, but he's going to be right. Yeah,
I think he looks fine out there. He was icing it up all week, and Nico has ice on a few different parts of the body usually, so he's just one of those guys that likes to look after himself, so I think he'll be fine.
All right, so 3 o'clock, Sharks Stadium, and we're here to do a bit of a preview. We'll talk about some other things like how well we are going on and off the field. Gary, what are your thoughts so far on the season? 2 games in, one in Las Vegas and one in North Queensland.
Yeah, obviously I didn't get up to North Queensland. I was one of the casualties from the sickness that ran rampant through the club.
When did you start this, or...?
Oh, I was out for 4 days. I had a fever and everything. It was no good. But, it was a good game up there. Obviously, we didn't get much training in with a few of the boys down and out. But the performance that they put in, I think it showed signs of what we will be able to put together once we, get those training sessions in and get those combinations rolling. It's only 2 rounds in. I'm pretty happy with what I've seen so far.
Now, my eyesight's not very good, Gary, and some of our listeners know that. Who's that gentleman walking across there?
That would be Jesse Colquhoun off to the gym.
Big news. Jesse Colquhoun is running pretty freely. I'm going to say, I'm not a doctor, within a month.
I have no idea. I'm not a medical professional.
He's looking good. He's looking good. So it'll be sooner than we probably thought. And great news as far as depth goes. Great news as far as his career goes. He looks amazing out there running and training. So hopefully in the next, month, or at least I would think within 2 months.
Close. He'd have to be getting close for sure.
Now, but how do you think we went on the field, Gary, in those opening 2 games?
I think obviously, as everyone saw, there are a few little things that we need to fix up. But overall, I think, the combinations are starting to grow. People are looking good together. We've got a side that's pretty settled over the last few years. Not too many changes. You add in a guy like Adam, and he's shown us what he can do. Him and Jai Gray, I think, are leading the competition in post-contact meters or something like that. So, we've seen the impact that a guy like him can bring, and I think it's lifting a few of our other forwards. And, we saw... rolling through the middle was kind of the theme of the first 2 games. Obviously, we had to do that on the shorter field in Vegas, but then we did it again against the Cowboys. And, once our forwards get a nice roll on, our backs can put on a bit of a show out the back, which is what I'm looking forward to against the Rabbitohs on a hopefully dry and fast track in the sunshine here on Saturday.
If it's anything like this afternoon, brother, it's going to be unbelievable. A little concerned about the Jai Gray stuff. We'll get to that in a little while. But, yeah,
He's only played the Dragons, and who else was it?
No, let's not talk him down. Sharks are 1-1. It feels like 2-0, but it's 1-1. And we should point out that the game is officially sold out, Gary, which is a great achievement. No matter how you look at it, it's a great achievement. So if you don't have a ticket, you should be looking and talking to people who may have a ticket that they can get rid of, because it's the hottest ticket in town, Shark Stadium. It's going to be awesome. 3 o'clock, the old traditional afternoon football.
3-game roster. Get down, watch the flag.
3 games.
Playing beforehand. So, it should be
flag
a good
10:50
afternoon.
And Jets around 12:40.
That's it.
The main event at 3 o'clock. Can't wait for it. I think, Gary, that the team has been doing really well. We can't discount the whole travel thing. I know the coach wants us to, but we can't, because they've traveled around the world and back again. And in that time, they've also had major sickness to contest with. They've barely trained. And at least this week, there's a bit more stability. They're at home. They're playing at home.
Yep.
There's a lot more regularity. BHU can hit Mr. Paisley's whenever he wants to, as opposed to some bizarre cafe in North Queensland or Las Vegas. So that, I think, is a strength in itself. Yeah. And obviously the recovery of these guys, because they weren't fit completely when they played, right?
Yeah, absolutely. A few of them were really down and out and affected by COVID, influenza A. There was a few things rocking around, and a few of those aches and pains, and, your head's a bit foggy and all that sort of stuff. So they couldn't really put in the performance that they probably wanted to. But overall, I think we saw enough good signs there that once it does click and once we do get a full week of training, which we've had this week, I think we'll enjoy what we see out on the field.
Now, I keep coming back to this stadium, which is always in the news for lots of different reasons. It looks beautiful, man. Like, I know it's a beautiful day. I get all that, and we're in the shade, thank goodness. But the touches they're doing to game day for this week, they're prepping. A lot of the staff and external staff are in here to make it all nice and good. It looks a treat. And, you know, I'm looking over at the Pete Burns stand. There's some stuff going on there, which you'll see when you get to the ground on Saturday and definitely in the coming weeks. The Chinese restaurant's there, which is amazing. The new screen, if you haven't been here for the trial match, there's a new screen. It's just out of shot, but it's awesome. So you'll be able to see a lot better at this stadium. And I can't wait, man. This is where we belong. I can't wait. I know that it's not perfect, but in my eyes, in my beady eyes, it is perfect. This is the place where we belong. And, you know, I think as long as we keep continuing to improve it year on year, however long it takes, I think we'll eventually get to where we want to be. But huge game. South Sydney, if they're not top of the table, they're near it because they're undefeated.
Yes. They
defeated Newcastle just in round 1 and also just in round 2. Is that right? Newcastle and...
I don't know who they played first. I can't remember, but yeah, I remember the Dragons last week. Field goal.
No, you know what? It's not right. Edit. Oh, we can't edit. Newcastle lost to the West Tigers. South Sydney... Make up something, Gary, while I do this. Say something cool.
Something interesting? I actually don't know.
Just talk to our audience.
Hello, audience. It's nice to see you, even though you can't see me, probably because you're most likely listening on the podcast.
You know, I think it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter who they played because they're in pretty good form, and that's probably the one thing we need to look at is, you know, they got some strike weapons in their back line, and they get a guy like Jack Whiten back who's got a bit of experience.
Yeah.
Campbell Graham's obviously back after a year off, and he's been playing pretty well. So, you know, we've got a lot of guys with a lot of strike power that we need to control. And I think, you know, the boys are really excited to be back at home because, as you said, like, we've had a bit of travel to start the year, and this is it. This is our home. This is our place. And the boys are really excited to get out there and run out in front of a packed crowd on Saturday afternoon.
Now, we don't usually discuss betting on the show for lots of different reasons. Doesn't mean we won't ever, but we usually don't. I can tell you, just having a quick look just by accident, and this kind of alarms me. The Sharks are paying $1.14 to win the game head-to-head against South Sydney, who are undefeated, $5.80.
Yeah,
I think that's a bit dramatic, and I love this club more than anything in my world. But you know, that's a bit dramatic.
It is. It is a bit too far for me, but I think, you know, the Rabbitohs will put up a good fight. I don't think they'll just lay down and roll over and let us get over the top of them like as easily as those numbers probably suggest. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the game. I'm just looking forward to being back here, back at Shark Stadium, ready to go.
Yeah, I kid you not, there's a buzz here, and there's not many people here. There's a buzz. Like, there are things happening. We're not sure who that is over in the Monty Porter Stadium.
Getting razzed here by Acco.
Who is it?
The Italian stallion, Dan Atkinson.
Okay.
Come up after.
Don't go to the Dragons. Don't go to the Dragons, Acco. What are you doing? What are you doing with your life? Don't go to the Dragons.
He's made a huge mistake, but we won't hold that against him.
We won't hold it against him. Love Acco, but don't go to the Dragons, man. So, yeah, like I said, buzz. Acco's out here doing promo shots for some reason with Jess Chich. Joe Gray, he leads the NRL in runs and run meters. He's had a great start to the year. We saw a bit of him last year, I believe. He might have debuted against Cronulla, but he's good. I'm of the belief, if it doesn't happen, it should. He'll be their fullback, and I think Latrell goes somewhere else in the centers or whatever.
I think he needs. He brings a lot of energy, doesn't he? Like, he's really quick. He gets the ball, and
I'd be very disappointed if we kick to him too much, as in like straight down the barrel. Make him run for it, make him chase, kick to one of the wingers by all means. I would not be kicking, and we might tell Acco to pass on the message straight to this kid, because even if he has a short run, it's still going to be 25 meters or something.
Yeah, exactly. So we've got to contain him for sure, and kick to those corners and trap them in there. And I think, you know, we'll have the game plan to do what we need to do. But yeah, he's a guy that you need to watch out for.
I mean, our kick chase under Fitzgibbon is pretty good, so I'm not overly worried about from our end.
Yeah,
but from his end, I mean, he's just very, very good at what he does. So
yeah, absolutely.
You can hear people on top of the Andrew Eddinghausen stand. I don't know what they're doing. Maybe setting up cameras, that kind of
Lights,
stuff.
Cameras, action.
Lights, cameras, action. Yeah, we should point out we are in the Andrew Eddinghausen stand. We love that man so much. And we're not far from where I regularly sit either. Although I am blessed to sit here a lot as well with a lot of our colleagues, shall we say. Jai Gray, Isaiah Tass, and Fletcher Myers are on the wings. Jack Whiten returns. He'll be in the centers with Campbell Graham.
Yes.
Pretty handy and pretty defensive centers.
Yeah. I agree.
So our boys, Jesse and Kale, while they'll still dominate, and I believe that they'll be the better pairing, it's a bit different than playing what they played at least last week. They had a good run in against the Panthers, but against the Cowboys, not much competition. But Campbell Graham, Jack Whiten, they know how to defend.
Absolutely, yeah. They're two guys. Obviously, Campbell Graham missed a lot of football in 2024, but he's back and he's got a point to prove. And we all see what he's done on the field before. And a guy like Jack Whiten with his experience, yeah, you can't take those guys lightly. And obviously, Jesse and Kale, great center pairing, so I'm not too worried. But yeah, defensively, we'll just need to be on our game, and in attack too, we'll just have to get our shapes right and get our movements right, and we'll be good.
So halves is pretty fun. So we've got our boys, Trindle and Hines, in good form, both of them, and they're playing Cody Walker, who on his day is just unbelievable. And to be fair, it has to be on his day, but that day can be any day he chooses. And then Jamie Humphreys, young player who they got from Manly, I believe, and he's lit the comp up in two games. Match-winning field goal last week, and he looks like he's not fazed by the big stage. So
I thought I heard this week that he might have played across the road at D-Lar at one point. Maybe a D-Lar.
Everyone takes our juniors, man. What do you expect?
But yeah, he's been good to start the year.
Big body. I think you know what? We need to get him and Nico to have a back-to-back kind of thing because they're both big-bodied halves.
Yeah, he looks really solid, that kid. So I'm interested to see him in real life. But yeah, his first two games, he's really taken control of the team as he's needed to, and I'm sure we'll do it again round 3 against the Sharks.
So the forward pack is Sean Kepi, Peter Masmazelis, and David Moali. Out of that, Moali's pretty hard hitter. Kepi's solid. And Colin Matangi, who looks to have lost a bit of weight over the summer on purpose. He looks a lot more streamlined.
Yeah.
Jai Arrow and Tallis Duncan, who I think is under an injury cloud. So we'll wait and see.
A hamstring or something, I believe. So we'll wait and see what happens
there. Wait and see there. And their bench is Jaden Sullivan, who's handy. We know him from across the bridge. Havili, who's a pocket rocket. Liam LeBlanc, who, to be fair, I don't know much about. And Tavita Tavola, who's a pretty experienced prop forward. So looking at this team, Gary, I'm not losing sleep over it, but they are 2-0. And their biggest thing going for them is their coach, Wayne Bennett. I can tell you that his most wins against any club is against this little club here in the South. He loves playing us. Our record against Wayne Bennett is not too flash. That's in the past, but I know some people like to know about that kind of thing. But it also means that for some reason, he's had the edge over us.
Yeah,
he's had the edge over Fitzy in a very short amount of time. So Fitzy needs to make that up, of course. But that, I think, is their biggest thing going for them, Gary. And someone pointed out to us on the show during the week, someone who wrote into us, and you can write into us, sharkcastpod@gmail.com. You can DM us. Someone made the point that Bennett teams tend to lift against the higher quality teams. So I think we're seen as that as well.
Yeah, I think we are definitely. We've over the last few years, I think we're up there. We're up around the top 8. Everyone kind of lifts when they come here, and it's a bit of a fortress. We like to turn it into a bit of a fortress, and people come here obviously with the idea that if we can knock off the Sharks at home, it's a pretty good win. So Wayne Bennett knows how big the occasion is, and starting 3-0 for them would be massive. So it's not a small game by any means, but yeah, there's a long way to go in the season, so we can't read too much into that. But I think that South could be up and around the top 8 come back into the season. So this is an important game for them and an important game for us.
Now, we've got a good record against them in recent times, especially at Shark Park, won 8 of the past 10. So that's a good stat going for us.
Yeah.
And last year we won 7 of 10 here as well. So it's not like we don't like playing at home. But looking at our team, I don't think there are any changes to the team that ran out last week. So Tom Hazelton, Tall Tom, is still out with a back injury. We don't think it's going to be too long at all. Chuku holds his spot. And so your extended bench is Atkinson, Siffa, BHU, and Chuku. What did you make of that bench, Gary, on the weekend against the Cowboys?
Yeah, Akko's had a bit of a new role this year, running through the middle. He's playing that bit of roving lock role, and I think he's doing a pretty good job there. Obviously, Siffa, we know what he brings, and BHU, although he had a bit of an error there last week, as he said on the pod earlier in the week. He's
just one error.
He's out here to make amends, and he knows what he needs to do. And Took's obviously stepping in. He's he plays his role really well. We've seen it in the trial, the ball playing that he has, and hard running, didn't miss a tackle, I don't think. So if he can come out and replicate that again, I think we've got a pretty good bench against the guys on the other side.
There goes the marking drone.
That's it. This is what I was talking about before.
So there's a drone on the ground, which I'm not really used to. I'm used to seeing them flying around.
It's just it's like one of those vacuum robots, right?
It's like a vacuum robot.
And
it's moving around, and the gentleman knows where he has to do his markings. This is riveting stuff here on SharkCast Pod, but this is the inside info that we like to give you. Tuku, I thought, was especially good last week off the bench. Gary, he looks so solid to me. Obviously, he's a very solid unit. We're not even making light of that. But I love the ease in which he did things last week. He didn't look out of place, didn't look phased. He didn't miss a tackle, made some meters. And I think if he just does that every week and then a little bit more, like maybe close to the line, if he can score, if he can pop a ball, etc. Then, he's on his way to being a very, very key ingredient of this team moving forward. There is a bit of a jigsaw puzzle to work out with all the forwards, because we mentioned Colquhoun's running pretty good, Toby's running pretty good, and Hazelton's not in the 17 this week. So that's three guys.
And they're three big names, really, when you look at them.
And they're fighting with your Tukus, with your BHUs. I don't know if they're fighting with your Siffers, because he's a bit more of a utility forward.
Yeah,
but still he's a middle. There. Not that I'd be dropping Talakai, that's for sure. But yes, we've got a lot of depth once those guys come back. So
they're almost playing Acco in that role as well, aren't they? That Siffer kind of played where, throw him in the center, throw him wherever you need him.
The Acco thing is pretty...
playing more just middles now.
He is. The Acco thing is pretty fascinating, because he can cover a lot of positions. So backline and now in the pack as well.
Yeah.
Siffer can do that to an extent. I wonder if they both fit into the picture when Colquhoun are fit.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting.
Because then maybe Siffer could be your utility back. I mean, he's not a fullback, but he could play centers and he can play in the forwards.
Yeah, it's a tricky one. As you said, it's a jigsaw puzzle for Fitzy once all those guys are ready to go, and I think they're all getting pretty close. So it's very intriguing to see what he's going to do there, and it might be one of those cases where it depends who we're playing or what we're playing or the conditions, things like that. And we know from past years that Fitzy likes to settle on his team and kind of name that and run that out each week. So I think you've got to have Siffer in there somewhere, and we'll see what happens with a guy like Atco, and obviously Toby and Tommy Hazo just, for me, steps back in there, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, there's only one man that will make that decision, and he is not here right now. He's over there crunching numbers and grinding tape and probably looking at the latest UFC results as well. But Gary, Saturday afternoon, 3 o'clock kickoff. Be here if you can get a ticket. We're saying gates will be probably 10:45-ish.
I would assume so, yeah. The first game's 10, what is it, 10:40? I'd have to check that.
Yeah. If you plan to be here for the whole day and you're here around 10:30, you'll get in pretty much after that. And 12:40 is Jets and 3 o'clock is Sharks. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be a great day. Those 3 game events, Gary, are so special. It harks back to how a bunch of the older crew grew up.
Yes.
And even last year, I remember, and I talk about it a lot, but Members Day against the Knights, 3 grades. I think it was 3 grades, definitely 2.
NRLW played as well,
That was a lot of fun, man.
That's awesome.
We camped in here, and we ate food, and we drank drinks, and we cheered them on and went to Golden Point extra time, and our boy Atco was killing it. So
here we go, 10:30 a.m. Gates.
10:30, there you go. The official word. Kickoff. 10:30 for a 10:50 kickoff. If you want to get your GA spots,
get in early.
You need to get in early, I would think. Down there, it's going to be rocking. We'll give a shout out to our friends. I believe they're called the Shark Cage, and they're going to be just down there in Bowling Central, which is just to the right of the Andrew Oettinghausen stand. If we're in it, closest to the entrance, our new friends there will be singing songs. I heard them. They posted some of the songs they're going to sing, and the main fella was singing the song, which is
that's awesome.
It's not a brave thing to do. It's a strong sign of confidence to do that, to go on a social media platform and have your songs there so we can then sing along. So I was singing along with the fella after I heard the songs. The songs about Nico and all sorts of things. So
And we saw the atmosphere that sort of stuff brings, like at Vegas when the English crowd was chanting every second of the game. Yeah. It's bloody unreal. So if we can get a crew down here, which I know we are.
It harks back to the CWSC days with Damien Irvine, who, of course, is a legend around this place. And what he did with that club gathering for a few years, and they kicked on a long time, I should point out. They may even still be going, I'm not sure. But, yes. Any kind of boisterous, above the board fun we love on this show, because
especially when it's natural and not.
Don't go to the Dragons, Akko. Don't go to the Dragons. Sometimes I sit in my seat over there in the upper Andrew Eddinghausen stand, and I'm just like, someone's got to get something going. And usually my friend Brendan Manahan's the one that does the Sharkies chant. But yeah, we need a bit of ambiance, as they say.
Bit of life in the place.
Yes. It's all very well to sit around and go, oh, what did you do last night? Oh, you had a good night. Yeah, I had a good night. Yeah, I was on a date of the Prince last night. Oh, okay. But also, aside from the social gathering, let's get behind the team and make some noise. So
yeah, for sure.
Where's that guy going? He's going to get like some.
I think he's popping over for a bit of lunch. Yeah, it looks like he's headed over for lunch.
He might be getting some Panetta Mercado.
Maybe.
Cheap sponsor plug there, which you'll see when you get here to the ground on Saturday as a spoiler. You know, I can't say what I think about that because you know what I think about it. But I think that every space in this world, not even this ground, Gary, should have sharks. Like when we're at Vegas Airport, it should just say, you know, sharks, and have a picture of Gallon holding up the.
That would have been unreal if you walked out of the airport, past all the slot machines, and there's Gal with the trophy right there.
How'd you go in Vegas? I was on the tables with you one night.
I did all right.
Did all right?
And not so all right. Had a bit of fun.
Walked out with your wallet.
That's it. That was a win. Didn't lose anything.
Yeah, that's
made it back to my room. So
yeah, it's better than Josh.
Everything went well. Don't know about Josh, but yeah, he did his best. That's all that matters.
He did his best. Don't worry about that. Hey, thanks for tuning, everyone. We appreciate it. If you're watching this or if you're listening, we appreciate it. SharkCast Pod. This is a Gaz and Shinazz exclusive show, and we love doing this, so we'll do it some more. That's for sure. You'll be seeing more of the duo that is Gaz and Shinazz, and it's always Gaz and Shinazz. Someone said to me once, why not Shinazz and Gaz? Might have been my dad, actually.
Why not Shinazz and Gaz?
No, it's Gaz and Shinazz. That's how it's always going to be. As our captain walks along in a singlet, stop me. Amazing. As I was saying before, Kale jumped easy on the hamstrings, Kale. Easy. Oh,
geez, he's struggling over that fence, isn't he?
There's a spoiler for you.
It's tricky over that.
SharkCast Pod, we are going to be in your grill all year, so you better get used to it. If you don't like it, I don't know what to say. SharkCast Pod, be here if you can on Saturday. If you can't, tune in via however you tune in, and then we will talk to you soon after that. This is SharkCast Pod. Gary, thanks for your time.
Thanks for
I know you haven't got any.
No, we're here. We're doing it. We got to make it happen.
We do. Thanks, everyone. We will speak to you soon, and you know how to get in touch with us. You know how to support us. And if you don't, we'll remind you next time. Up, Cronulla. Can't wait for Saturday. Let's go.